Have a look at yourself, you know, what are you doing? But no matter what I said, my words just fell to the ground. And anyway, he took off. And 2 weeks later, he comes around to my house. And I still remember I was paranoid. I mean, I was used to having cops, mate, raiding my house, you know, so I was always ready for the cops. You know, I'd wake up in the morning and I'd get the binoculars out to find out where the cops are parked, you know, I mean, the detectives and undercover agents. So anyway, the front door clicked open and I looked through the window and I see my mate walking down the pathway. And he's got a smile on his face and his eyes are letting up, and I'm thinking to myself, mate, what's happened to him, you know? You know, I thought to myself he's using a different type of a drug. So I opened up the door and I said, mate, what happened to you? You know, and he said, Nick, he goes, Jesus come into my life, man, you know? Jesus, you know, he died, but he rose again on the third day and he's come into my life and he's forgiven me of all my sins. And he's talking about being born again and baptized. And I'm thinking, what, you know? I've never heard of words like this before. And he was saying, that's why, you know, there's a smile on my face. He goes, Jesus broke my habit, he set me free, and I couldn't believe, you know, what I was hearing. Not only that, but then he began to focus his attention on me, and he said, Nicky, you need to repent of your sin, and you need to turn to God, you know, and you need to stop doing what you're doing. I said, I don't need God. I said, I just bought myself a beautiful Porsche, you know, so I gave him a pat on the back, and I said, I need God. He says, you don't understand, mate. He says, there's coming a day when you're gonna need God.
How did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable, extremely uncomfortable. In actual fact, I had a contract on a man's life at the time. And it was only because of what he said about there's coming a judgment day. I've never heard words like that before, but it was like a sword maybe being plunged in my heart. Even though I didn't understand all that he was saying, I knew that something that he was saying, it was like, I knew that on the inside, that he was saying something that was the truth. And as a result of that, I got on the phone, mate, I cancelled this contract. It was only a short while later that my wife actually became a Christian.
How did that start to affect you?
I guess, in a way, I mean, I said to my wife, I mean, because I was afraid, to be honest with you, I was afraid of the Bible. I did not want to know what the Bible had to say. And I said to my wife, I said, honey, you're a Christian, okay, that's fine. I said, you live your life your way, I live my life my way, and we'll be both happy. You know, so we try to live our lives like that, but my wife will open up the Bible and she'll try to tell me stuff, and I said, look, I don't want to know. But I guess I saw her attitude change. She didn't want to go for driving the 932 by Porsche anymore. And she would challenge me about my life and the way I'm living my life.
He'd pick me up at church in his $120,000 Porsche, and I'd feel embarrassed. You know, there was part of me that was repulsed by that lifestyle, but because I'd read scriptures in Peter that said, you know, submissive wife and stuff like that. I was going to win my husband over with my life. I wasn't going to nag him, and I've never nagged him. I've never been a nagger. I was going to win him over with the love of God, and that was it.
She started attending these prayer meetings, and she'll come home, and there I am, I'm carrying all this money, and, you know, she would see a lot of things, you know.
And he'd tell me to count money. There'd be more money than you could lay your eyes on, and I'd say, I don't want to count your money. I'm not going to count your money. You know I don't like counting money. And, you know, he'd have jewellery and he'd say, pick jewellery. He'd have jewellery everywhere, and I'd say, I don't want your jewellery.
She'd say, we prayed for you tonight, you know, and I'd get angry, and I'd say, what do you mean you prayed for me? Don't pray for me, pray for yourselves. I don't need your prayers. So, I mean, it was later on, it was revealed to me that she would go back to the meetings and she would bawl her eyes out and say, it's not working, prayer's not working, you know, but little did she know that, mate, God was doing something in my life. And we found ourselves on the Greek islands, and it was there while I was just relaxing, you know, sunbaking, that my wife was reading the Bible.
I said, honey, you know, you should hear what this says here.
And I guess you got me at the right time. I said, okay, what is it?
There was that scripture that said, what shall it profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his soul?
For he who finds his life shall lose his life, and he who loses his life for my sake will find his life. And there I am on the islands of Greece, and again, it was like a sword, mate, just been plunged into my heart. And I said, what? I said, how can it be? How can one human life be worth more than the entire world and all the treasure in the world? I couldn't understand that. And she said, honey, when God created man, he created him with an eternal spirit to live forever. But the decision you make for or against him is going to determine where you're going to spend eternity.
And I could see God at work straight away. It was like, it wasn't dead words, they weren't words that just fell upon the wayside or anything. They were words that went straight through to his heart, and I could see it, I could read it in his heart that he was convicted by those words. I actually remember part of that honeymoon that he made a phone call from a phone box back to Australia and cancelled a massive big criminal job that he was in at the time. And I was standing outside the phone box and I recall him cancelling it. I don't know why I didn't ask him any questions. I was naive and young and stuff like that, but God knew. God was at work.
So you went to Egypt, and what happened there?
It was actually in Tutankhamun's burial site. There we are, in his tomb, one of the richest men, who has ever lived, and is lying there before me. And I remember just looking at all the gold and the treasure and the stuff that were actually stuffed in these tombs. And the tourist guide said that all these pharaohs died with a forethought they're going to be resurrected to a new life. And all their servants, the mummies who were actually, in the tombs with them, were also going to be resurrected to a new life, and they were going to serve these pharaohs forever in their eternal kingdom. And that's why they put all this treasure and stuff in there. And I'm standing thinking to myself, mate, you've been deceived by what you believe in, right? And it was amazing because as I was thinking that, it was like God spoke into my heart and said, son, you've been deceived by what you're believing in. You're trusting in your golden riches, but the day's going to come when you're going to let go of those things. So right there, I could see myself in this coffin, and I'm actually being lowered under the ground, and all the things that I was working hard for, all the things that I had my eyes on, and everything that I had was left behind. And I was going down. And this big question mark just hanged over my head. Where am I going to spend my eternal destiny? And how could God forgive someone like myself? I've done too many bad things. I was a rebel. I did many bad things, involved in organised crime. How could God possibly forgive someone like myself?
You came back from overseas, back to Australia. You're still involved in a life of crime, but you discovered things about God. How did it all fit together?
When I got back to Australia, my friends said to me, Nick, there's something different about you. And certainly there was something different. I began to think about my eternal destiny, which is something that I never used to consider before. I used to drive in my Porsche, mate, down Port Road, Torrens Road, doing 260 kilometres an hour without a seatbelt. And for the first time, I'm wearing a seatbelt just in case I actually died and had to meet God. Because I knew in my heart that I wasn't ready to meet God. I wasn't ready to face Him. So I'm thinking about it. I still did not understand everything, right? Because I thought becoming a Christian was about trying to just live a good life. And then hopefully, God is going to put all my good deeds on one side of the scale and all my bad deeds on the other. And if I've got more good than bad, then I'm going to make it in. But I really felt that God was calling me and drawing me by His Spirit. And God was calling me to lay down my life and walk away and just put my faith and trust in Him. I didn't know how I was going to do it, how it was going to happen, how I was going to even get out of the stuff that I was involved in. But I knew that, mate, the winds of change were blowing across my life. I remember one day we're driving up to this crop that I had my eyes on. We're organising it, we're looking at a $10 million plantation. Right? And we're driving up there, and mate, all the way there and all the way back, I talked about Jesus. I can't believe it, mate. Things like that never happened before. I remember going out with another mate of mine. We would go out, hit the streets in Harley Street, and I would get dressed up, and put on $100,000 worth of gold jewellery, rings on every finger, gold chains around my neck, gold watches, I had a Coke spoon, and I would just dip it into this Coke bag that I'd carry with me, just stick it up my nose, right, and just party, mate. Go to the casino, blow a couple of $1,000, no big deal. And I remember going out with my mate, and I said to him, mate, I said, forget, I don't feel like partying tonight. I just want to, mate, let's just sit down and let's just talk. And mate, we're sitting down, we find ourselves in a coffee lounge while everyone's partying, the music's pumping, and we're talking about Jesus, mate. That wasn't me. That wasn't the old Nick Bossaris, you know what I mean? So there was a change that was taking place.
I dragged him to, because I was pregnant, I couldn't drive anymore. I dragged him to a Bible study with Geoffrey Bingham, and he sat in the back, and Geoffrey Bingham preached on the cross.
And I'm listening to him speak about Jesus, and mate, there it was. My eyes were just open, and I realised who Jesus Christ is. I made the connection as to why Jesus died, because I could never understand why